Childhood. His full name was Edward Willis Levert, but people just called him Eddie. He was born in Bessemer, Alabama on June 16, 1942. He grew up in a small, close-knit town where singing was an important part of everyday life. Being the son of a steelworker and a housewife, Levert heard gospel music when he was young. He sang in the church choir and developed a deep love for music. When he was a child, his family moved to Canton, Ohio. This is where his lifelong love of music really began. Levert went to Canton's McKinley High School and met Walter Williams there. Williams would become his close friend and play music with him. They were both really into music, so they started singing in local talent shows. They got ideas from 1950s doo-wop and R&B groups. The group that would become one of the most famous R&B groups in history got their start with this early exposure and practice. What the OJs are and working with famous people. Levert, Williams, and a few other friends got together in 1958 and made a band called the Triumphs. After a few name changes and lineup changes, they were called the Mascots and then the OJs, after Cleveland DJ Eddie OJ, who was very important to their early career. In their early years, the OJs had a hard time. They put out a number of songs that didn't do well, but their hard work paid off in the early 1970s when they signed with Philadelphia International Records. The OJs were huge hits thanks to the help of songwriters Kenny Gamble and Leon Huff. Their big break came with the 1972 album Backstabbers, which had hits like Love Train and Backstabbers. Eddie Levert's emotional, powerful voice became a signature part of the group's sound, and his stage appearance captivated people all over the world. In his time, Levert has worked with a lot of famous people. Because of how well the OJ did, they went on shows with big bands like The Temptations, Gladiators Night, and The Pips. They also performed on stages with stars like Aretha Franklin and Stevie Wonder, which cemented their place as one of the best R&B acts of all time. Levert had an impact on more than just his group. He became a recognized figure in the music business, known for helping and mentoring younger artists through illness and life problems. Eddie Levert had a lot of personal problems, even though he was very successful at work. The death of his boys, Gerald and Sean, was one of the hardest things he had to deal with. They had followed in their father's footsteps and become successful musicians. Gerald was a famous solo artist and member of the band Levert. He sadly died in 2006 after taking too many prescription and over-the-counter drugs by accident. 2 years later, in 2008, Sean Levert died in jail from problems related to coming off of Xanax. Eddie was deeply affected by these terrible losses, which led to a time of intense grief and thought. Lester E. Levert has had health problems and has also lost his kids. He has had to deal with the physical effects of a long career in show business, such as the stress of traveling and performing. Even with these problems, he has stayed strong and continues to act and connect with his audience. Why they're famous? Eddie Levert is famous because he is very good at what he does, and the OJs are always popular. His soulful voice and charismatic stage appearance helped shape the group's sound and brought their music to life as lead singer. Many people connected with the OJ's ability to write words that were both emotionally powerful and socially aware. Songs like For the Love of Money, Used to Be My Girl, and Forever Mine will always be classics. Many awards and honors have been given to Levert for his services to music. The OJs were admitted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2005, which shows how much of an impact they had on the music business. He has also won a BET Lifetime Achievement Award and a Rhythm and Blues Foundation Pioneer Award for his work. History: Eddie Levert left behind a legacy of fire, strength, and great music. His strength and dedication are shown by how he handles personal and professional problems while still having a successful job. Many fans' lives have been changed by Levert's music, which has also inspired many future artists. While Levert has had a lot of success, he has also had to deal with a lot of bad things in his life. Although he has been through a lot in his life, he has never given up on his career, which makes him an inspiring figure in the music world. Eddie Levert is still a well-known and loved figure in R&B and soul music, and his efforts will be remembered for years to come. Eddie Levert, who is famous for being the lead singer of the band O'Jays, has had many problems and struggles in his life, both personally and professionally. His character and his work showing how strong and determined he is. Problems in early life. Eddie Levert was born into a poor family in Bessemer, Alabama. This was the start of his trip, because of racial segregation in the South in the 1940s and 1950s. His early life was made even harder by money problems. When he was a child, moving to Canton, Ohio didn't help with these problems because his family was still having trouble with racism and money. As a child in a segregated society, Levert faced few chances and a lot of racism, which made it hard for him to follow his dream of becoming a musician. Having problems at work, the early years of the OJ were marked by hard work and many failures. They started out as the Triumphs and later became the Mascots. The group had a hard time breaking into the music business. Record labels turned them down a lot, and it was hard for them to get steady gigs. There was always a problem with money, and the members often had to do odd jobs to make ends meet while still pursuing their singing dreams. When they signed with Philadelphia International Records in the early 1970s, things changed, but they didn't become famous right away. It took some time for more people to connect with their songs. It took a lot of hard work and creativity to stay relevant in a very competitive business and deal with the pressure to succeed. Tragedies in our lives. Eddie Levert's two kids, Gerald and Sean Levert, have died. It is one of the most profound and heartbreaking events in his life. Eddie was devastated when both of his kids died. Each of them was a successful musician in their own right. Theodore Levert, Ernest Levert, Eddie's oldest son, died in 2006 at the age of 40 from taking too many prescription and over-the-counter drugs. Gerald was not only Eddie's son but also a well-known artist and a close friend. Eddie was deeply sad and grieved over his death, which was a terrible blow to his emotions. Gerald's death brought up problems related to the stress of the music business and personal struggles with health and well-being, which made the loss of him even worse. It seems Eddie lost another terrible son, Sean Levert, just 2 years later, in 2008. Sean passed away at the age of 39 from problems caused by stopping taking Xanax while he was in jail. Eddie could hardly stand the thought of losing another son in such a short amount of time and in such terrible conditions. It caused him to feel terrible sadness and made him face the harsh truths of his family's problems. Matters of health. Eddie Levert has had his own health problems as well as dealing with family tragedies. Long-term work in entertainment, which includes a lot of traveling and performing, has worn down his body. Specifics about his health problems are usually kept secret, but it is known that keeping his voice healthy and his body strong has taken a lot of work and care. The tough parts of the music business got harder as he got older, so he had to find a balance between his need to act and his health. Financial problems and problems in the business. Eddie Levert has had times when his finances were unstable, even though he has been successful. In their early years, the OJs had money problems, and even after they became famous, it was hard to keep track of their money in the unstable music business. Changes in the music business, changes in what people like, and the rise of digital music have all affected Levert's earnings and ability to stay financially stable. Also, coming up with new ideas and staying relevant in a music business that changes so quickly has been a constant problem. It can be too much to handle the pressure to keep getting wins and performing at a high level. Dealing with personal grief and health problems while navigating these problems in the business has taken a lot of strength and resilience.